flashcarts. Hello everybody, welcome back to Hardware Hackers, and today I want to review a few flashcarts because why the heck not? I mean, why not? So I'm going to test with two consoles today. One that's backwards compatible with obviously Game Boy DMG/Color cartridges and Game Boy Advance cartridges. Obviously Game Gear with Game Gear. And I'm going to use a DSi XL that I repaired myself off video. The Mario 25th anniversary edition, so that'll be with that. And the Game Gear is obviously too big to put on my desk, so let's start. So number one, we're going to use my wirelessly rechargeable well, actually this is not even plugged in right now, but yeah, my wirelessly rechargeable Game Boy Advance SP. So we're just going to take a look at the flashcart, EzFlash, and this is the EzFlash Omega. Now what they recently did was they recently did a definitive edition, which is less power draining. Now I do not have that on hand because I've got this and I'm happy with this. So what does this do? This plays Game Boy Advance games. As you can see, if you click select, yeah, you have 404 image not found, but it also depends on, you know, if it can find any of them. I don't know how you do that, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that it can also play DMG games or color games. Now, let's say if I were going to play God knows, let's say Shin Megami Tensei Devil Children. I wrote a guide to this. I'll link it in the description because why not? And here you go. So if I press L and R at the same time, I will get you know, a chance to change the color palette. And notice it says Goomba. Now Goomba is an emulator. I can exit as well, and it'll take me back to this. Now notice this this GBC emulation, it's not the best, so which is why I have two flashcarts. One for obviously my Game Boy Color because I want to play on original hardware. I am just picky like that. But you know, I like to put this one in here as well. You know, if I'm on the go, portability. It's a lot more portable than bringing a Game Boy Pocket and you know, a Game Boy Color or a DMG even. But this one, it has a lot of a simpler menu. Let me just see if I can. Actually, I can change the color palette on this one. If I go in either direction, I can do this all day. It won't boot unless I pick a color. So I want to pick a more visible color. That won't work. I'll need this one. Yeah, that'll probably do. Okay, so now it reads in red. So all of this is in a simpler menu. You can't use L and R like you would do. I know how that will be confusing because all that does is stretch the screen out. So what you would need to do to get into, you know, the settings, you'd have to can't even speak. Press select, and it will tell you the firmware, and you will have all your games. And this will not run on emulation. So yeah, and there's also EverDrives as well. Those ones are made by Crix. Crix is a genius. Those are a lot less power consuming. There was also something else that I forgot to address about this flashcart. So what happens is, you know, if you want to reset, you press in this button on the inside of the cartridge and it will just keep resetting. So if I show that right now, it's just behind the sticker. That's pretty cool. And now we get to the fun part. We'll leave the we'll leave Game Gear till last because, you know, it's too big, and that this is not an official EverDrive product. You will find many not even like this. You'll find one of these with the same sticker on AliExpress. Those are copies of the EverDrive. This uses the same firmware of the EverDrive. This does not. This uses its own firmware. You'll find plenty of copies of whatever that won't work as good, or they drain too much power. But if it's a one-to-one clone, you know, you will obviously get the best of both worlds. You'll get, you know, a reduction in price, but you won't be supporting the actual creator. So, you know, this one is pretty good. Mind you, it's probably the best I've seen. This one drains a lot of power. I can literally feel it sucking the battery dry, which is why on this one I put in a DS battery, so that hopefully compensates for that. There are also like some in a purple cartridge, which I will show on screen right now. That only supports up to 4 GB, but this one it can support any, as long as it's SDHC, I reckon. But that's completely fine. This one, in fact, I'll show that now. I'll save the DS till last, because why not? So this, where is my Game Gear? This one, it came with an SD card. Let me see if I can get it out. There we go. So it came with an SD card. As you can see, it looks a bit worn out and old, which I'm not too happy about, really. But worst comes to worst, I've backed everything up. There is no firmware to be installed. It's all there on the thing. And with these clones, you should never try and update the firmware, because they will brick. Because it's like, that's what Crix does. He wants to eliminate any copies of his boards, which I completely understand. But you know, if you're smart with them, you can keep it as it is. So let's have a look. I showed this in another video, but let's go in there. Let's bring that down a little bit. There you go. So you can have Sega Master System. Obviously, to play Sega Master System, you would need a Master System player, which plugs in as a Game Gear cartridge, and you can put in Master System cartridges inside this adapter cartridge. But with this, you can play it directly onto that, and you have, let's say, Alex Kidd for the Master System. A lot of these are copies, a lot of these are demos. There's the whole entire library on here. Choplifter, Double Dragon, Fantasy Zone, Lucky Dime, Michael Jackson's. The only problem I find with these is that the name does not scroll, so, you know. There's also Mortal Kombat on here. Everything's already on this, and as I said before, let's say we want to play Tom and Jerry, you load and start. It will erase the ROM that's already been flashed onto the cartridge, and it will write to it again. Do not turn it off when this happens, otherwise errors will occur, and it will boot. And since I refurbished my Game Gear, I didn't even put in a new speaker. It gets very loud. Now, this is where things get interesting. So now, here, you'll notice I've got two R4 cards. Now, this is an R4i, this is not. This is an R4 Gold. Now let me show you this. This is one of the Time Bomb cartridges from 2020. And it will display Touch Bombman Land from Nintendo. I've got low battery, as you can see, so I'm going to have to be quick, or if this dies, I will have to switch to my 3DS. But anyway, this is using a custom menu to bypass the time bomb called YS menu. Now, I have all my ROMs here, and it will show all the icons of games that I can play, like Chrono Trigger, let's say, Dokapon Journey, Dragon Quest, any of these games that I like, Zelda, you know, even Super Mario Bros. I've got a lot of Professor Layton as well. But there's one thing that I didn't like. The Game Boy thing. So I deleted everything because this wouldn't work the way it's supposed to. So if I go into the Homebrew menu, and I go into the directory, I can look at all of these ROMs from my... I've added them from my flashcart, actually, from this flashcart, just so I can play them on the go. There was one that worked, but, like, you know, there'd be a lot of the pixel errors. So let's say I want to play Pokemon. And we'll play Fire Red, because Fire Red is, yeah. Press B for LCD swap, sure. Save type, automatic. And it will show me the FPS. Press A for auto VSync, so you want VSync. Video sync line, yeah. A for normal, everything. And we'll just use that. And it will, it should display on here. And it will start to load. And it won't load. And that is the issue that I have with this. I've tried many different emulators for the R4, for the Game Boy, and none of them seem to work. Not even GBA Runner 2 works on this, which is why I think this is a waste of time. So now we'll look at the, you know, the better one that came out this year. Turn down the brightness a little bit so you guys can see. So this one has Deep Labyrinth Atlas USA, well, by Atlas West, makers of Persona, great game. Ignore 3.NDS, that was a randomizer cartridge that we were playing. So yeah, we could play Avalon Code, Blue Dragon, whatnot. All of the same save files and whatnot from this cartridge are on here. I got this firmware from a YouTuber that bypassed the time bomb, so I don't have to actually boot into YS menu. Brilliant, right? So I've got NES games, not many. I've not got many Neo Geo Pocket games. R4i menu, Sega Master System, SNES, TT menu, all of that, even GBA Runner 2. So if I wanted to go on that, I'd have to go into my micro SD and emulators, and let's say GBA Runner 2. I think that'll be, no, it's not that one. It's not that one that I have to click on. It's this one. And it can only show up to 64 ROMs, unfortunately. So let's say I wanted to play, let's say Grand Theft Auto Advance. and give it a while to load. I'll just put the brightness up a little bit because it's a bit dark. And you have a perfectly working Game Boy emulator for the flashcart. There's also a Game Gear emulator. Now, if you don't like the Game Gear screen, you can go down on, I don't know what DS Master Plus is, but I don't want to touch that right now. But there's also S8DS, which is Master System, SNEMUIDS.NDS, which is SNES emulator. Not all the SNES games work. This is an Atari 2600, I think, emulator. And Genesis is obviously a Genesis emulator, and you got lameboy.mds, nes.nds. Lameboy is great. You can go into your GB folder and you can look at all your ROMs of choice. So I say Tetris. Turn the brightness down a little bit. Yeah, I didn't know whether you guys knew that select and volume meant yeah. The sound isn't too brilliant. But it plays just great. There's no screen tearing, there's no issues. I'll get rid of that crappy sound, but yeah, everything works just fine. No issues whatsoever. But as far as it plays games, you know, everything is just fine. No issues whatsoever. There's applications like colors.nds. You know, you can change the color of your things. But let's have a look at this. What's it called? DS Master Plus. Not GBA or whatever. Oh, okay. Whatever that is. Oh, this is the game. I think this is the Game Gear emulator. Okay. Yeah, this is the Game Gear, so I can load a game from, what is it? Let's say GG. And if I wanted, okay, so these are all Sega Master Systems. These yellow ones are Game Gear games, which is pretty cool. I remember I've only used this once to test, but I've not actually used it since. So if we let's say find Sonic, there we go, Sonic 2 World, execute actual game, press B to play without DS motion. And it will play from the top. Now you'll get a bit of buzzing because it's obviously emulating the. So I'm gonna have to hold this up, and I'll turn this down. You'll have the little bit of an intro here. This is emulating the Game Gear, aka the Master System as well, because the Game Gear is basically a portable Master System. Don't know what's supposed to happen here. I'm pressing start and so, oh, there we go. Okay, so it's oops, it's R to, okay, so be nice if that stayed still. Oop. Wasn't ready for that. Hello. What's all this about? Ooh. I'm looking at my camera as well. But yeah, as you can see, it runs pretty nice. There's no audio issues with this in comparison to in comparison to Lame Boy. But yeah, I mean, this by far is just, you know, versatility of the flashcart. The flashcart plays well. I mean, it's a DS flashcart, so you can imagine how well it plays, you know, DS games, because that's exactly what it's designed for. Everything else, you know, just fine. But this is a different flashcart to this one. This is an R4 dual core with a smart update. This is a Gold Pro with real-time save. These two have two different firmwares, and that is totally fine. What I like about this one is that, you know, if you just want to play DS games, that is totally fine. Everything will work. This one for way more versatility. It plays DS games, plays Game Boy Advance games. It plays anything. It plays literally almost all retro games, even up to SNES. And SNES, some SNES games don't work, like Kirby's Dream World 3, I think it is. But like, let's say Earthbound, that'll work amazing. But that is all for today, you guys. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.